I found a notification on my husband's phone that said, "Your storage unit payment is overdue. We don't have a storage unit." My husband Theo was in the shower and his phone was charging on the nightstand when I saw it light up. I was not the type to snoop, but something about that notification made my skin prickle. We had been married for 9 years and shared everything including our finances. There was no storage unit on any of our statements. I memorized the name of the facility before the screen went dark. When Theo came out of the bathroom, I asked him casually if we had any storage units I had forgotten about. He laughed and said no and asked why. I told him I was thinking about renting one for my craft supplies, and he said that was a great idea before kissing my forehead and leaving for work. He lied to my face without blinking. The next morning, I drove to the storage facility with the spare key I found hidden in his toolbox. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get it into the lock. I expected to find evidence of an affair or gambling debt or some secret life I never knew about. What I found was so much worse. The unit was filled with boxes labeled with dates going back 15 years, before we even met. I opened the first box and found newspaper clippings about missing women from 3 different states. My vision started tunneling as I opened another box. There were pieces of jewelry and driver's licenses and photographs of women I did not recognize. Some of the photos looked like they were taken without the women knowing. Others looked like crime scene photos taken by whoever committed the crime. I stumbled backward and knocked over a box near the door. Out spilled dozens of burner phones and zip ties and rolls of duct tape. There was a hunting knife with something dried on the blade that I did not want to identify. I ran outside and vomited in the parking lot. My husband of 9 years was a monster. I had slept next to him for almost a decade without knowing. I called the police from a gas station 3 miles away because I was terrified he could somehow track my location. The detective who arrived looked skeptical at first, like he thought I was a paranoid wife making up stories. Then I showed him the photos I took inside the unit. His face went gray and he immediately called for backup. They arrested Theo at his office that afternoon. I watched from across the street as they led him out in handcuffs. He looked confused at first. Then he saw me standing there and his expression changed completely. The mask he had worn for 9 years slipped, and I saw something cold and empty behind his eyes. He smiled at me, not a nervous smile or a pleading smile, a smile that said he knew exactly what I had found, and he was not sorry. The investigation revealed that Theo had been linked to 7 missing women over 20 years. 5 bodies were eventually recovered using information from the storage unit. 2 women were still missing and probably always would be. I had to testify at his trial about finding the unit and everything I saw inside. His defense attorney tried to suggest I planted evidence because I wanted a divorce. The jury did not believe him. Theo was convicted on 5 counts and sentenced to life without parole. Reporters camped outside my house for weeks asking how I could not have known. The truth was I had known something was wrong for years, but I convinced myself I was imagining things. The way he would disappear for entire weekends with excuses that never quite made sense. The scratches on his arms he blamed on yard work. The distant look in his eyes sometimes when he thought I was not watching. I ignored every warning sign because I loved him, and I did not want my marriage to be a lie. It took me 2 years of therapy to stop blaming myself. My therapist said predators are experts at hiding and that I was a victim too. Some days I believe her. Other days I lie awake wondering if I could have saved even one of those women if I had been paying closer attention. I moved across the country and changed my last name. I do not date anymore. I cannot trust my own judgment after being so wrong about the person who shared my bed for 9 years. Sometimes I still see his face smiling at me from across that parking lot. That smile haunts me more than anything else. He wanted me to know what he was capable of. He wanted me to be afraid. I am.